Welcome to Minding Your Business, the Pro Montreal Entrepreneurs Podcast, a program of Federation CJA. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis, Head of Entrepreneurship at Pro Montreal Entrepreneurs. Each episode will introduce you to a founder or founders that found their way through Pro Montreal or not, and some mentors that have some words of wisdom.
And that's all coming up. But before we get into that, Catherine, tell me about the upcoming masterclasses.
So starting in September 2025, we're going to launch again our master classes that are led by industry experts. You can find all this information on our website, by the way, or by registering on JLive. But this time we're going to have 3 different workshops, one on how to sell, another one we're going to do on how to build a brand, and then the third masterclass we're going to have is how to make business decisions and based on the financials, how to set up your KPIs. So yeah, they're going to be fantastic. They're, again, closed groups, but you can register and come join us.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I said we were calling this episode Failures, Lessons, and Logic, and that's because our guest is the entrepreneur for whom we unabashedly stole the phrase. Marlee Rabin is what Catherine refers to as a serial entrepreneur, and we're about to get even more business startup wisdom from her. Marlee Rabin, welcome to Minding Your Business.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I want to start with the idea of failure because it's where you start on the website. You write that you created the website to document the process of my journey so far, including my failures, lessons, and logic. And I recently listened to a Freakonomics podcast series, a whole series about failure and its importance, particularly in entrepreneurship. So I realized there is an irony in starting with the idea of failure when we're supposed to be inspiring entrepreneurs, in success. But what is it about failure that made you put it first on the list?
Such a good question. I think it's just because I've pivoted so many times. And when I was creating my website, it was really for me to document what I did and remember it like it was my own kind of keepsake. And then I wanted to share it with others. So I think failure is so important. It's how you learn, right? If you're just doing everything right every single time, I mean, that's great. But ultimately, I've changed my mind. My path has not been linear. And I think it's just like a very honest and real approach to what I've actually done. Mm-hmm. Not to say I'm a failure, but I've had a few along the way.
Well, that's an important difference
yes.
to say that someone is not a failure themselves, but they've had failures along the way.
Yes. It's only natural, right? Like if we all think about our own lives, like would we say that we took every step perfectly? Like maybe we wouldn't use the word failure, but there's no way that all of us did every single thing right. Like, how do we become better if we don't misstep along the way?
And you learn more from your mistakes.
Yes.
Because it allows you to see what you've done that you could do differently. So there's definitely something to be said with the word failure or mistakes, but that's how you learn, right? Think about when your child is first learning how to walk, right? They're going to fall, they're going to fumble. But what defines success actually is when you get right back up. Mm-hmm. When you let failure define you and you are defined by failure or your mistakes, that's where it ends. But true entrepreneurs will hit the bump in the road and then pick themselves right up and go along. So was that what you would say happened with you?
100%. It's exactly that. And I'm very comfortable with it. I'm very open about it. I don't try to be somebody that I'm not. I just think, being honest and real is important.
So talk to us about your journey. Sorry.
No, I wanted to ask you in terms of what you were talking about, the way you see failure. We talked about this on a previous episode that, people come to Pro Montreal Entrepreneurs and you might reject them and they come back 2 and 3 times until you say, okay, now you're ready.
Yes. So many times people will come to see me, but they're not ready. The market's not ready. They're not ready as entrepreneurs. Their idea is not mature enough. They don't have a co-founder. There's a variety of reasons why we'll say no. But what will define whether or not somebody is successful is if they can take it and then pivot and use it to their advantage to grow. Mm-hmm. And we call that being coachable. And if you're not coachable, you're not somebody we're going to fund. It's not, and most people won't fund you. If you can't take guidance, because nobody knows everything, right? So when you're in a room with people that have been there, done that, and they give you feedback, you don't have to take every single thing they say as gospel and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. But you have to have the wherewithal to say, okay, this is why it's not working. How do I move forward? And that's going to be the differentiator of whether or not, we'll fund you, or whether or not you'll be able to go ahead with your business.
Right.
I agree with that, because that's also, it goes back to, it's a little bit of stamina, but it's also things will not go according to plan. So what are you going to do? You have to be able to react and pivot. And if you're just going to fund people who are like, oh, this is my plan, didn't work, panic, what's next? How do you come out of the other side?
Yeah, and there's something to be said about being adaptable and being
Yes.
able to see where there's bumps in the road and being able to pivot. It's such a strength. And that, I would say, is one of the, I like to call it those skills that I look for when I'm looking to work with people that I want to work with and fund. That's definitely a skill, the adaptability. But enough about us. I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey. Talk to us a little bit about your journey. You have a very cool job right now. Tell us about what you're up to.
Okay, so I decorate private jets.
Wow.
That is the bulk of my work. I will also do some luxury home projects, like very select ones, hospitality projects. If a new restaurant opens, they need china crystal flatware, things like that, or a hotel project, I'll take on those. But I'd say the bulk of my work is private aircrafts. So you're probably wondering, like, what does that mean to decorate it?
What does it mean? How did you get into that? Because it's a very cool, I've only seen private jets in the movies or on television. And you never stop to think, hey, yeah, they probably need somebody to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's just so much that goes into it. So what I focus on is china, crystal, flatware, linens. So think, you're on the plane, you need like pillows and blankets, and why can't they be Loro Piana and beautiful custom pillows with beautiful fabric? Or there's bedding, right?
Yeah.
So the configurations of all the planes are a little bit different, but club seats will what we call berth. And they lie flat, and you can make a bed on top of that. And there's different configurations of that. Things need to be in the bathroom. You need, your lavatory. You need to have hand soaps and towels and serving pieces. And
So did you get to go on other people's private jets just to see what that's like, to then get ideas? Because I would imagine, how would you know?
So, I'm coming into this where other people have set up that formula, right? So I'm learning from the people who've been doing it. And we have like a catalog. There's like a generic package that some people take. And then, I'll definitely go onto a plane if it's here, or if I can get to the plane and go in and see it. Because sometimes I want to do special color matching, right? So I'll go in with my swatches, and we'll pick, and we'll say, oh, okay, the accent color of the back of the chair is this exact shade. Let's make placemats in that color in leather. Like little details like that. Or we want to go in and we want to pick the perfect blankets and the perfect pillows. So there's a lot of that, but it's every day is different. Every aircraft is different. Sometimes it's a referral, and I'm just kind of finishing it and putting out the quote and taking care of the delivery. Sometimes I'm at the beginning of the phase, and I'm meeting with the client and doing everything. So it's always different.
Is there a huge network of people that do what you do? Because I didn't even know that this was a thing.
I know. There is. Actually, I was just at this. It was a Montreal conference called Elite Wings, and it was beautiful. It was at the Mount Stevens, and it was people traveled from all over the world, but people from Bombardier came because we do have Bombardier here, and there's quite a bit of people in the private aviation space. It's really interesting.
It's so funny to me because I'm used to being on a plane with people who have neck pillows on. And I'm trying to picture a guy on a plane getting ready for bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Putting on his pajamas.
with his beautiful placemat that matches the accent of the pillows. That's amazing.
Yeah, everything should be cashmere.
But how did you find, how did you get into this? How did you find out about this?
Yeah, so, okay, it goes back, but basically, I think the key for me was keeping contacts along the way of everybody I've met and everything I've done. And to kind of go back a little bit, I did have a startup in 2018 that I started. It was a luxury dress rental concept. So what I did was I collected designer dresses, and then I would rent them out. And I would pay the person who consigned with me a commission, and I would try to charge like a very, reasonable rate. So that was the business model. I closed it during COVID, and we can get into all of that. But I remembered I had one person who would come like every few months and give me like great items, great dresses, great pieces. And I always remembered that this was what she did. And, many years later,
the private planes.
this is what she does.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vanessa. I love her. And so anyway, years later, years went by, and I just was kind of thinking about what's my next move? What do I want to do? And I asked myself, like, blank slate, pretend I haven't done anything. Forget school, forget all the experiences that I had. What would be fun? What do I want to do now? What would I enjoy doing? And like getting up every day and going to do.
That's so important.
And like Vanessa just popped into my brain, and I was like, I need to call her. And I just picked up the phone, not to see if she had a job for me or if we could work together. I just wanted to see how she was doing. Is she still doing this? How did she get into this? Like, what's the latest? Like, just to catch up. She's like, you're calling me at the craziest time. I'm growing my team. We want to expand into yachting. There's so much going on. I could use a hustler. I was like, oh, this could be really cool.
Yeah.
So that's how it came to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's a combination, right, of you being at that crossroads and this serendipity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I often, and this is where it goes back to my like failures, lessons, and logic. I really try not to have like any sort of an ego about my life or like I for sure had more of an ego in my 20s. Like now I feel like I've really stripped myself of that. And I try not to do things based on how it looks or I feel like I made different decisions when I was younger. Now it's like, what do I want to do? Yeah. What's fun for me? What's right for me now? What's the right life balance for, I have a daughter and a husband and I have friends and all these things. Like, how do I do all that and like love my work and get up every day and do that? So I really just tried to intentionally think about it.
You were talking about how let's just wipe the slate clean as if the past however many years didn't exist, but they do exist. You started working at the age of 28, right?
Well, that's when I started my first business.
Okay.
I started working when I was young. Like my first job, I think I was like 14 or something like that. And then I took my first real corporate job before I even graduated McGill. I was just like excited and I wanted to get into the workforce. And everyone was like, you're insane. I'm like, I'll finish my courses at night. I'll do this job during the day. And everyone's
Hustler.
like, yeah. Like they're like, the job will still be there.
What was that job?
It was, do you guys remember CC Apparel?
Yes.
So it was, luxury wholesale fashion.
So you've always been in the luxury type of, is that attractive to you, that whole like
always.
1%? Yeah.
Yeah. I love beautiful things. Like I love spending my days thinking about beautiful things and organizing how they go together and like making sure the right people have those things and getting it to them. Like that's always been a factor in my life. I just always loved that. Uh-huh. And I enjoy it. So fashion was a big part of my career. I worked corporate fashion for years in marketing and sales, and I got a lot of experience. And then I started my first business in 2018. I guess I was 28. And I just had some confidence to get started. The timing was right. I was working at a company. It was time to go. It was time for the next chapter. And I just figured, let's go for it. Like, if not now, when?
And exactly. And I want to say something. The younger you are when you start a business,
oh my God, yes.
the more freedom you have to make those mistakes and errors. Because when you're older, you have a mortgage, you have children. It's a different dynamic and it's a different conversation in your head. But when you're young and free, there's so much freedom in that not having all those ties, like the mortgage payment. I have to send my kids to school.
Yes.
It's a whole other weight. So
if you didn't say exactly that, I would have said exactly those words because now my life is very different, right? I have my daughter to think about in the best way, but I wouldn't have taken the same risks.
They would have been calculated risks.
Yes. And mine were calculated then too because I am quite conservative in the way I do things. I like to take risks, but I'm still very like lean in the way I do things. Like I if I'm spending any money, like I'm careful about it.
And that's a female entrepreneur thing, I have to say, with all my years of experience, 25 years now. Women will take risks, but they're very, very calculated. And it's rare, in my experience, where a woman will be like, let's go. Let's just put everything on the table.
Yeah.
Men will do that. Women are more cautious. They'll take risks, but they're calculated.
Yes.
They're cautious before they sign. You're going back and forth. A man will be like, let's go.
Will men take those risks even at the stage you're talking about with the kids, with the mortgage?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Probably
yeah.
more so than women.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's wrong with us?
Right?
No, it's just different. And I've thought about this a lot because it intrigues me because I want more women to take these risks. And, I don't have any data, but what I'm thinking is that it's how girls, in our generation have grown up and how they saw the relationships their mothers had with money and how money controlled them. Back in the day, many women didn't work.
Right.
And their husbands were the breadwinners. So their relationship with money and how they were controlled or not with money will impact how women will take risks with money. So again, I haven't done any research. It's just years of reading and just watching and observing. So anyway.
Yeah. That checks out.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So Marlee Rabin, let's get into it. Failures, lessons, and logic. What were some of the failures along the way that have, can you say a failure meant the most to you? The top three, or would you say bottom three? I don't even know.
Okay, I'll just list them. We'll see if it comes to three. If it's four, we'll see what happens and how it goes. But okay, so I got into the Amazon space after my dress rental company. And I wouldn't say that closing my dress rental business was a failure. It was a really strategic choice for me, and we can definitely get into that. But one thing that comes to mind was I decided to get into Amazon. Okay, so a little bit of context of why I wanted to do that. I was renting these dresses. COVID hit.
Nobody
all of a
was
sudden,
going anywhere.
couldn't rent a dress, couldn't sell anything that I had.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
What do I
zero
do?
revenue.
Yeah.
What do I do? So I'm thinking of different plans. I'm pivoting. I actually joined an accelerator program. I came up with another concept. I went through a lot of business plans. And then the one thing that was kind of working during that time was TikTok, as we go back to it.
Yeah.
So I got on. I started making dress content, wear this to a wedding or don't wear this to a wedding. And the content really started to explode, 5 million and 2 million and all of them were getting millions and really high views. So I'm like, this is great. And I was driving traffic to my website. And I would look, I'm like, 3,000 visitors. And I'm looking every day at the numbers. So exciting. No sales. Can't convert.
So you weren't converting any of the people coming.
No. So I'm like, okay, this model works. I can drive traffic to my site using content, engaging content. I started to get good at the content. And then I'm like, how do I sell now? What do I do? So it took me a while. It wasn't poof overnight, but eventually I'm like, what if I had a standard product that I can private label that had depth to it, right? And I can drive traffic and I can sell large volumes of it. Whereas right now I have unique pieces. It's one dress, you fall in love with that one dress you saw, you go on the website and it's one size and you're not that size, I can't sell it.
That's right.
Right? So that's where I'm like, okay, let's try something different. So I dove into Amazon. I actually didn't know what I was doing. I took a course.
And that's the best thing to do.
I had no idea. I'm like, I'll just take a course. I took this course and I followed all the guidelines and I did all the things and I ended up private labeling some home organization products. And I put in money. I put in $50,000 to get that going. And that's a lot for me.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it wasn't I was borrowing, this was mine and my husband's. And, I always shout him out because if it weren't for him, I don't know what I would have done because he made sure we would live and we had a place to live and we had food to eat. He took care of everything. And I was spending my money that I had to grow a business.
And focus. You were able to focus. Yeah.
He gave me that. So so much credit to him. It's not an easy thing. But so many things went wrong in that launch. I can't even tell you. So I create the product. I make it. I make it out of China. Okay, I do an inspection. The inspection fails. I have to redo the inspection. That's step one. It costs money every time you're doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Then I'm ready to ship the product over. But Amazon won't take all my goods. They'll only take 150 of my 5,000 units. Oh, wow. So now I have to find a 3PL to go take my items. So I'm looking for a 3PL and where am I going to do it? In Miami, in LA, here. And I'm looking for all the prices. So then I find a place to do that. Then I send my goods in. Then I start selling them. And then I'm moving things around. And that whole time was just hectic, chaos. I didn't know what I was doing. There isn't a course that will give you a step-by-step guide of all the problems that arise when you're running a course, when you're running a business. When you take a course, it can give, here's how to source, here's how to get it going, here's how to list it on Amazon. That was very helpful. So I don't want to necessarily call that a failure, but that was the first time I really started to sweat because I put money on the line and I'm like, nothing's going properly and I'm spending more money than I thought. I feel like it's like a home renovation.
Yeah.
You like open up a wall and you find something and you're wow, that's like another $20,000 and you're just sweating. That's the first time I really started to sweat.
But you're figuring it out along the way.
Yes, definitely figured it out.
So what did you figure out? Like, what was the what did you?
It was like a million little decisions, right? Yeah. So it was like, okay, we got the goods in. Then, okay, now how do we get the listing up on the first page? And Amazon's all keywords, right? I can get into all of this. It's like I've done courses on this. It takes like a lot to talk about it. But basically, you want to be listed for your core keywords that are relevant to describe your products. So clear organizing bins, clear fridge bins, pantry bins, things like that. You want to be ranked at the top of page 1 for all of those keywords. So I had to like figure out how to do that. And there's money that goes into your pay-per-click advertising, your PPC, and like, so yeah, it was a long journey of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to figure it out. Okay, that costed more money than I thought. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that worked. That didn't work. Do you know what I mean? So it was like a long series of things. And it was great actually in the end because the product did really well. I ended up meeting a business partner and joining forces with him and like getting into a bigger business on Amazon. So I had some very good years on Amazon. And then I decided to step away from Amazon because there's so many reasons. But one of the big things is if you sell on Amazon, you're at the mercy of Amazon.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like they change their policies. That's their prerogative. It's the wild, wild west. You have to figure it out. And I think the best sellers are sellers who have big brands that are on and off Amazon. And Amazon is a great sales channel. Sometimes it'll be up, sometimes it'll be down, sometimes it'll be less profitable, sometimes more because of the policy changes and new fees and all storage policies that they put in place. Yeah. But you have another business outside of that. Yeah. And the person that I was working with had a vision for growing the brand beyond Amazon, which I think was the right approach. Yeah. But I didn't want to do that journey with him. And I think we both kind of agreed, like, he's going to, it was more local. He lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I live here in Montreal. It's time.
It's time to step away.
Yeah, good years, good successful years, failures along the way of like money I lost that I later made back and more. But that was the first time like really that I started to feel like, oh my God, I'm spending money and I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of came to its natural end.
It did. Yeah.
And that's when you moved on to the private jets?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just, a very casual jump from one thing to the other that is not related.
Would you do it all again?
Yes.
Having gone through all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely would. And like our careers are long. I'm sure there's more things out there that I haven't figured out yet that I will do, But yes, I would do it all again and more, for sure.
What's interesting is you talk about the failures. You had some wins. Talk to us about some of the wins. What was that like to finally find the product market fit where you had all these millions of views, which too bad we don't monetize in Canada with TikTok because that could have been a sales channel right there. Right? Mm-hmm. Shout out to TikTok, monetize Canada. But so once you made that connection, what was that moment like?
I mean, so entrepreneurship, it's like euphoria and then like deep stress, right? Yeah. So you're going from one to the other. So the wins are euphoric. It's the best feeling. It validates all of the doubts you might have because I think I'm someone who is blissfully naive in a good way because I wouldn't take the leaps that I took if I wasn't naive. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I was confident in myself that I would figure it out, but I actually, once I was in it, I'm like, oh, I really actually don't know what I'm doing.
Did you have any mentors along the way? People that you could, so talk to us a little bit about that. That always interests me. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of mentors. I just believe like looking for people that you admire, that you think are successful for different reasons, even if it's not exactly related to what you're doing, and having the privilege of talking to them, even if it's like a one session. Yeah. I always reached out to people. Like I have no problem reaching out. I spoke to so many people along the way. Some people were more consistent and stayed with me throughout different periods of things I was working on. Some people were just kind of every now and then I knew I could call them if I had a question. But I never hesitate to pick up the phone.
And it's funny, most people that have experience are glad to give their time.
Yes.
And many times people are scared to ask for help or for
Yeah.
advice. But really, my experience has been reach out more than none. People want to like share their experiences, give you guidance. It's, learn from other people's, journeys, their mistakes, their successes. People are generous with the time, I have to
Yes.
say. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the type of people we're talking about who work hard and succeed want to see others succeed, want to help others succeed.
Yes. And you're not coming asking for a handout.
No.
Saying like, give me a check, right?
Yeah.
Like write me a check, give me money. Like, how did you do that? Like, tell me what you did. It's kind of like, wow, I really admired that you did that. And I'm doing this and these are different things. And I'd love to learn from you. It's a very flattering feeling to feel someone else admires what you do and wants your advice.
Yeah, and it's,
know?
yeah, I do know. And what's interesting is that for me, people's time is worth so much more than their checkbook. I think different people have different values, but even when you take money, right, when you're raising money, you want to get money from somebody who can then bring value to your business, to you as an entrepreneur, to help you grow. Just taking money that doesn't come with any type of value attached is a dead end street, right?
Well, money goes like this.
Like that. I wanted to ask you about something. Do you have a lot of, within your network, other female entrepreneurs that have started businesses?
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes we don't see a lot of people we can look up to. But did you have any heroes over here, like other female entrepreneurs that you said to yourself, you know what, I saw her do it, I want to do it?
Yeah, I had a few like hero ones that I'll tell you. And I also had a group of friends who were like me,
Right.
who were wanting to, start something or just open to the hustle and like waking up early and we'd wake up at 5 a.m. together and like go for walks and
5 a.m. club.
yeah, like did that for sure. Now it's more like 6 a.m. club. It's like I have so much to do in the morning before I can like hang out with anyone. But yeah, I always admired the Glossier founder. Like there were a few like fashion and beauty founders that I just looked up to. And I always looked at women entrepreneurs. I looked at men too, but they didn't excite me as much.
Yeah.
Female
entrepreneurs rock.
Are you that for younger entrepreneurs now? Have people been looking to you for similar?
I mean, like, I don't know because I didn't create like a Glossier. I didn't create a brand like that. But I definitely think there are some people who might appreciate my advice and like do ask me for advice. And I'm so honored to give it. And I'm very generous with my time when someone asks. And even if I can help someone figure out like what program to take in university, I feel good about that conversation because I helped someone, right? So I don't know.
Well, I think maybe we'll end off on lesson or lessons. But before we get to that, you say failures, lessons, and logic. And I'm very curious what you mean by logic.
Logic is every decision you make along the way, it's something that only you can do. It's your logic, it's your interpretation, and it's your choice. So for example, when I closed O'Current, so many people are like, why did you close? Like, why didn't you wait out to see what would happen after COVID? And well, like, here's my logic. This is what I chose to do based on what I was seeing, right? And I think we all do that for our own businesses, our own life, we all have our own logic in everything we do. So that was the word that I used because I felt like I was talking about it a lot too. So I would explain, well, okay, so this is what's going on. I'm not renting any dresses. I have choices to make. These are my options. I'd evaluate everything. And yeah, it was always my logic at the end of the day.
And then you stood behind your logic, right? Like
Always.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That once you make that decision, you stand behind it.
There's
and,
no going back.
And you don't go back.
Yeah. And I stand by everything I've done. Every failure I've made, every misstep I've made, like personal and professional. Because when I fall hard, I learn the hardest. I learn the most. I come out so much better. And ultimately, I always want to be better. I don't want to just stay the same. I want to improve in every level, not just like business or making more money. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better partner. And I can only start where I am and do better than where I am and look to other people who are better and learn from them.
Listen, when we know better, we do better, right?
Yes.
And it comes through experience. And I have to say many times you have to fake it till you make it. That's a real thing in entrepreneurship, the imposter syndrome. I hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk to me about I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm an imposter. I'm like, hey, fake it till you make it. You're on the right track. And you know what? You'll make a mistake for sure. But so what? Let's just move forward.
Yes.
So I don't know if we can wrap it all up into one quote unquote lesson.
Yeah.
But if someone did approach you and say, I'm an entrepreneur, what do I do? What would one piece of advice would you give them?
One piece of advice. There's so many angles, and I think I would want to target it based on what that person's going through to help them kind of figure that out. I'm going to say this that always stuck with me. If you're not making money, it's a hobby.
That's 1,000% right.
I remembered that. Because when I first started Ocurrent, I was learning how to make money. That business taught me how to make money. And I was able to apply that logic, see what I did there?
Yes.
To Amazon and beyond. But fundamentally at the beginning, I felt like it was a bit of a hobby because I was renting out these dresses and I wasn't really making a lot of money because I was putting it back in the business. And you have to know, is this business going to grow and scale and you're going to make money and everyone who's in it is going to make money? And if nobody's making money, it's truly a hobby and you can enjoy that. Enjoy your hobby, but don't pretend it's a business and pour all of your money into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice.
That's great advice.
Failures, Lessons, and Logic is on your website, which is?
MarleeRabin.com.
And that's because you are Marlee Rabin. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Every episode, we'll bring you a bit of business wisdom from a PME mentor. This week, our mentor is Mick Canfey. Canfey is an entrepreneur and founder of Twist Image and The Collective, and is a PME Fund board member. Mick?
Hi, my name is Mick Canfey, and one piece of advice I'd give to any entrepreneur is don't raise money to build a product, build a product to raise money. It sounds like a small shift, but it completely flips how you approach things. Think about it this way. Investors don't fund ideas, they fund traction. They fund momentum. So instead of spending like 6 months polishing a pitch deck, spend that time proving something. Solve a specific problem for a specific group of people. Think Amazon and how they started. Get feedback, or get 5 paying customers, or a wait list of 200 people, or a pilot with a real partner. The goal isn't perfection, it's proof. Once you have that, you're not just asking investors to believe in your vision, you're showing them it's already starting to work.
For anyone who is interested in the mentoring and the guidance that PME has to offer, how do they sign up?
So it's very easy. You have to go on our website, www.promontrealentrepreneurs, that's with an S.org, and you can apply for mentorship, financing, and coaching. And speaking of financing, if you're looking for $75,000 for your business, the next funding round deadline is coming up on October 20th.
And that's our time. For more information on PME or any other Federation CJA programs, follow us on social at promontrealentrepreneurs.org or at federationcja.org. Minding Your Business is a production of Federation CJA. Executive producers are Glenn J. Nashin and Catherine Korakakis. Technical production by Daniel Moskovich. The Minding Your Business podcast. Subscribe, download, listen, and share wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis.
Minding Your Business, Pro Montreal Entrepreneurs, bringing ideas to life.